Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Truth
Hey.
Bruce again. And thank you for being so overwhelming and following us. I really like it. It's really beautiful. We've got 57,000 people now. Wow, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, today we're talking about triumph, our personal triumph. So I will start with Jimmy.
Yeah.
The
Sure. So, hello, everyone. And I just had a thought. So, three of us are here in South Florida, and Bobby's in Kentucky. I propose that when we reach 100,000 folks subscribe to our channel, we all get together in South Florida for dinner. And that might be in the dead of winter and work out good for Bobby. So,
I'm always good. I don't care how cold or hot it is. I'll go.
Perfect.
yeah. So today we're talking about personal triumphs, and I know for me, it's not just one thing. It's a multitude of smaller accomplishments that cumulatively make a giant change in my life. And so we were just talking about investments earlier, and I think the stock market took a hit or something today, and so that's out of our control. But what is in our control? Our own personal stock value. Did your stock value go up or down today? You live your life in such a way that your personal stock price goes up, or does it stay the same, or does it deteriorate? These are things that are in our control. I can't control the stock market and don't particularly care to. So, but I do care and have vast interest in my own value, and the value of a person could be measured in the value we add to others. The more valuable a person becomes is gauged on the value that we add to others. And so I live my life in such a way that I'm a new and improved version of myself every day that I wake up, spiritually, cognitively, and physically. And it's an evolutionary process of ascension. And so if you want to call it a triumph, which is a victory over procrastination, a victory over the status quo, a victory of regression. Because if you're not growing, you're regressing. The time is a continuum. The earth continues to spin. So we have to grow at a pace that out grow at a rate that outpaces the spin of the planet. And then we'll make some progress. Just like if you're trying to swim against the current, if you stop swimming, the current's going to take you. So think of time as a current, and we're trying to move forward. It requires a concerted effort, and life is not a spectator sport. It requires an intense effort, and this is what I was thinking about the other day. I put a lot of effort into the person that I am and the person that I'm becoming. It takes a lot of effort, a lot, but it's worth it. I think the universe recognizes spent energy. The universe recognizes spent energy. And I thought of this a while ago, and I wrote it down. It's um, human spent energy has a name. It's called karma.
Yep.
So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Back to Ella.
Yes. Karma is a very important thing, and sometimes it can hit you on both sides, positive and negative, on like hell. Raji, would you like to go next?
Okay, sure, I'll go. So yeah, karma. There's good karma and bad karma. And I've experienced both. And sometimes you're going along and something happens great and you think, well, wait a minute, where did this come from and why is it happening to me? And it's probably because your spent energy was good. Like whatever you did in the past, it's now reaping and coming back to you. And the same thing goes for the negative, quote unquote negative. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in karma. And another thing about karma is you don't always get it where you gave it. Usually you don't. So you can do something kind for someone and maybe you won't get anything from them back per se, except a thank you and you know some gratitude, which is a great thing. But down the road, you may be in a similar situation as the person that you helped before, and someone will reach out and give you a helping hand. So yes, I'm a firm believer in karma. So okay, my stock value. Wow. I'll tell you, I've had to believe in my stocks what a lot of the world didn't believe in it, and value myself at a high, you know, a high level, even when I was hearing messages that were the opposite of that. And so I think I've really come to a point where I've mastered that, in the sense that, you know, I can go out and maybe I'm in a crowd and, you know, at the market or wherever, and I feel like, oh, those eyes of judgment and, you know, the negativity. But I'm at a point now where I don't let it affect me like the way it used to, because you know yesterday I was speaking at an event, and during the Q&A, this woman, she raised her hand and she says, well, you know, I just want you to tell you that, you know, it doesn't matter what other people think, and you know, and how they judge you. All that matters is like what you think about yourself. Well, I thanked her for her comment, but I'm thinking, you're preaching to the choir, honey. I know that. That's like so common sense to me. And when she was saying it, I thought, well, I had to have had to know that many years ago, because if not, I would have killed myself. I wouldn't have been here. I would have checked out. So yeah, there's this thing in me that knows that. Like I know that it doesn't. People's other people's opinions are like assholes. We all have them. Meaning that, you know, if you live your life based on people's opinions, you'll be in the corner with a dribble cup. You can't do it, because if you go left, there's going to be a group of people that say, why didn't you go right? If you go right, vice versa, a group that says, well, you should have went left. If you go straight, you go back. I mean, it is impossible to please everybody. And so I had to learn that the hard way in in many instances as I've journeyed in my life. But I feel like there's this thing in me that's always had the ability to invest in my stock, in the Raji-licious, the Rajendra Narayan Singh, aka Raji Narayan Singh, aka Raji Licious, aka Raj, aka Rajan, aka et cetera, stock. Okay. And believe in it and value it at a high value. Ella.
I like your AKA.
Oh, my goodness.
Bobby, your turn.
Goodness. I, I really like what how Jimmy started out about making the point about the investments we make in ourselves. How do they manifest themselves in the people around us? Are they feeling like they've been lifted too? And I had a really wonderful experience. The last 24 hours, I've made it my I've just made it my mission. Uh, you know, the three of you and myself, we live in very red states where there's very oppressive, persecuting kind of legislation being passed, and people trying to make us feel all inferior and all of this crap, and it's wearing down a lot of people, and but not among us four, because the four of us are aware of it, and we're like the Energizer Bunny. We just keep going and going and going, and I that is such a gift. And so yesterday, I've just made it my mission here uh, for the last several months that I want to get to every community of any size in my state. And I want to meet the movers and shakers and the people that are trying to put things back together, and make things like the way they were 3 years ago and even better. And how are we going to do that and those sorts of things. And so um, there's a town and a city in far western Kentucky, Paducah. It's really far. It's where the Ohio River runs into the Mississippi River. It is way over there. It's like about 3.5 hour drive from Louisville, which is in the middle of the state. So it was a long way. And I had never been there before. And I wasn't really sure what to expect. But I've got to go. I don't care what it's like. I got to go meet the people. And oh, they were just beautiful. The city was beautiful. I thought that I would it was going to be too late to drive back home. And I thought that, well, I'm going to get me a hotel. And I'm looking at Travelocity, and I looked at the best thing they had to offer. And it was like this boutique hotel in this historic building in the historic part of town that two gay men had bought, and they had just decorated it fabulously. And okay, I'm going for the most expensive option. And I bought myself a gift, really. It was like when I opened the door to my room, it was like, oh my gosh, did I buy myself a great gift? This is wonderful. And then I went to the event where I was supposed to speak. And my whole point in going, if I could condense it, is this is not a time to agonize. This is a time to organize. And so my whole message was about what has been happening, who has been doing it, how are we going to turn it around, and what do we have to work with. And uh, and it was just so, it was incredible how the whole spirit of the room lifted up. And the next thing I know, they were saying, will you run for office? And I said, no, 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 I'm not here. I don't want to. But I was trying to lift them all up and encourage them. And I did. And so by the end of the night, there were all these people saying, well, I can do this and I can do this. And this person came up and said, well, ran for the House of Representatives the last time and I lost. What would it take to do it again? Because that is a tough beating. That is a You have to work really hard. And most people that run for office the first time against an incumbent that's been there for a while, there is not real likely that you're going to win the first time. And so, how do you persevere, and how do you uh, encourage somebody? And so, I'm thinking about the resources I have that I can bring to the group, with the organizations I work with and all this stuff. And I'm just trying to lift everybody up. And there's another group that has a museum of African American history, and they're taking a beating right now. And it's like, well, how are we going to turn that around? And they were just wonderful, wonderful conversations. And everybody felt really inspired. And so when you asked earlier, Ella, about how has our stock gone up, and then what Jimmy said, it was like I went there, and it's a place that I've never been before because it is so far away, and it's not on the way to anywhere really. Well, I shouldn't say that; they would not like it.
You're like, it's not. I went to Timbuktu and it's not going anywhere, but I went.
Oh, I mean, like Missouri is on the other side of the river. It's no place in Missouri. It's just nothing Missouri over there.
Does that stand for misery?
Yeah, but no, I don't mean to laugh at him. I just mean to say all of the things I had fabricated in my own mind about why I'll never go there. And it's like, oh my God, I am so glad I went because it's a charming, charming historical town. It is so quaint and cute, and the people are on fire, and it's like they know we're all better than this. And the same is going on in Florida. Everybody there is better than what your the few people in your general, whatever you call it, their state legislature are trying to make it right now. And it's like, you have the power to bring it back. And so I think that's it all ties into what all of you were saying about energy and karma and how, kind of a rising tide lifts all the ships. And it was just a gift I gave myself to go there and not knowing anybody or where it was or what I was going to run into, and then meet all of these fabulous people, and we all get inspired together. We've got swapped emails and phone numbers and all of this stuff, and we all have things that we're going to do. And so, you know, I went into a part of the state where there is a lot of agony right now, and now there's all this energy to get organized and do something about it. And so when I think about an investment, that's pretty tangible to me because those are people, it's grassroots stuff, and and I'm going to go do it again tomorrow night on the opposite end of the state, over in the Appalachian Mountains, and 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 that to a town where a lot of people are scared to go, but it's like not me. I'm not smart enough to be scared to go there. So maybe next week I'll have another story to tell about my town over in the Appalachian Mountains. So I'm having a great time, and it's neat because there's a lot of people that are down now that are feeling like, well, maybe we can turn this around. And so I feel like that's a good investment. It's a triumph, and I'm glad I'm learning that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. But you know what? We were talking about that, but always look at the bright side of life, right? And always count your blessings and look forward for your little problems that you have to overtake every day. Your little challenges, it's the way to grow, right? And since we are talking about, you know, our personal triumphs, I mean, they come every day.
Yeah.
Have a look at them. Try to bring them. I mean, I just had a personal triumph because I have to tell you, I had a little bit of an issue. One of my books, I'm trying to put it in Audible, and I was scammed. Unfortunately, I was scammed. It can happen. But you know what? No issue. Found another way, got it over, trying to find the same book in Audible with other people, and it'll be coming soon.
Oh, good.
So, it's always, there are challenges. Get over them. Get your triumph together. And in that book, that, by the way, it's a little bit of my autobiography, there's a hell of a lot of challenges and a hell of a lot of triumphs. I am very, very glad that I had until now, and by the way, it's not over yet. I had a fantastic life, and I've been in so many places. And yes, I have had some very, very large international triumphs all over the place. I mean, just today, yeah, the stock went down. My personal stock went very much up, to tell you the truth, because I had some really nice gains today, not in the stock, but, in my personal life.
Mhm.
And isn't that what we are living for? Why are we here? We are here to learn.
Mhm.
There's no, there's no losses. There are some challenges which come. And if there is something that we call losses, it's usually a karma thing. You're learning something. You're learning to progress to the next challenge and to the next triumph, because that is your life, you know. I mean, I have to tell you, you know, I come from a country called, I mean, I was born in a country called Portugal. When I was very young, we lived in an autocracy, from a very difficult autocracy. And, you know, we had a big, big triumph because we got over it. We got my country, Portugal, these days, which I was born in. I'm American now, but the country I was born in is now a great country. They had to learn a hell of a lot of things the hard way, but they did it. And right now it's kind of everybody wants to go there because they just found out there is a beautiful country there, and the food is good and the people are nice. And you know, but we had our difficult moments, very difficult moments. I mean, repression. I mean, myself, when I was young, I was a little bit of a terrible person. And I learned. I learned, and I am very proud of what I am now. And it gave me quite a lot of lessons as well to, you know, to being a transgender person, because, you know, life isn't a journey, a beautiful journey. That's what we're looking for. Is that all those days that you're actually learning, being, you know, touching your environment, your nature. That's how I live. That's how everything is going. And thank God I have got a really big chance to know so many things about so many countries and about so many other people. Yeah, Raji was talking about, you know, difficulties, you know, and being, let's say, other people trying to comment on what you do. And this is a kind of, it's a normal thing because everybody wants to tell others what, I mean, not everybody, but many people want to tell others what they have to do. But never forget, there's only one voice, which is right. It's your inner voice. It's yourself, which has to tell, am I okay with it or am I not okay with it? Don't never let other people rule you. It's you who rules yourself. So with those words, I give back to our great group of people and great group of Floridians and Tennessee people.
No, don't cuss me out like that.
By the way, the other day, you know, I live in South Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time you look at original television, the first thing you say in South Florida is how many people were murdered, how many people the police was on the road, and you know, killed something, or how many. I mean, such a lot of violence. And the other day was actually not far away from where you all live, and you know, they were talking about the students, the people. There was no violence whatsoever, and I was thinking, wow, this is so nice. It was in the middle of you know of the countryside, but they were talking about, you know, the plants, the people, the schools, who was went to visit whom, you know, the churches and stuff like that. There was no violence, there was no police, and there was no murders. And I thought that is really nice.
See, so all these worlds coexist with each other.
Exactly, and within the same country,
Cha-
far away.
Chaos and harmony coexist at the same time, just in different dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
So we choose what dimension we want to live in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If there's a way that I could try to explain that to people to understand, there's multiple dimensions. We vibrate at the level of our existence, and that vibration, you turn the channel with our thoughts and our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're constantly being bombarded with the negative news, that's going to envelop your being, and the universe is going to respond by giving you more of it.
Mhm.
Because what you vibrate at is what you're going to attract.
Yeah.
So if you got hate and discontent in your heart, or frustration or anger, the universe is going to respond to that and give you more of it. But if you got peace, love, and tranquility and harmony in your heart, the universe is going to respond by giving you that. All these things are happening at the same time, but it's in different realms. And I had a thought earlier. I was in the gym yesterday. There's a Bob Seger song. I think it's called Riding Away, maybe. And he rides his motorcycle in the middle of nowhere, and he's at an intersection somewhere. He can go east or he can go west. And every one of us had that pivotal decision in our lives to decide we're done being a caterpillar, we're now a butterfly. And that's how I interpreted that song. And then in the lyrics say, he saw an eagle begin to fly, or I think it was a hawk begin to fly, and I started crying like I am right now. But these just invest in yourself. And I want to say this too. We're talking about making decisions. Good decision making ability comes from a lot of bad making decisions. So
Mhm.
every event in our life has an opportunity to be a learning experience, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. Keep that in mind. If something goes wrong, you're in school. If something goes right, you're still in school because you learned what to do right.
Mhm.
You never
Ella,
give up learning. You never give up learning until the last
yes.
day.
I have a question for Bobby. Is it true that the fried chicken in Kentucky is the best fried chicken ever? That's what I heard.
Well, let me just say that I bought a grave plot in Cave Hill Cemetery next to Colonel Sanders.
Oh, okay, okay.
So,
So, so you know,
well,
this
it's
guy
between
the other,
Colonel Sanders and Muhammad Ali. We've got
yeah, I love that. So this guy the other day said, don't forget to water the things that you desire or that you want. And it just resonated with me because, in the world, there's so much going on, and a lot of us get caught up in the day-to-day survival and, the things of our life. And we forget to water, to pour into the things that we want to manifest and desire. So the title of the show today is Triumph. And I'm going to tell you, I think the the major thing or the most important thing is to have a triumphant mentality despite the way things look. And I have a perfect example. I think it's a great demonstration. I go to a spiritual center from time to time, and the minister there was telling us about, and I remembered when this happened. He went to Europe last fall, and he went to the north of England to meet a friend, had a great time, went to the south of England to meet a friend, had a great time. He was headed to France, to Paris. He'd always wanted to go there from the age of 12. On the way on the train, his luggage is stolen. His luggage with his clothes in it and his computer bag. And in the computer bag, he had $5,000. Okay. So he cancels his trip to France. He books a flight home and he's home in 2 days. And he's like wondering, why did this happen to me? And like, why, what did I do to attract this sort of thing? So, anyway, there were a few people at my center that said, you know what, Reverend Waterhouse, we want to treat for you. We want to like pray and put it out there that you're going to get your stuff back. And he was like, oh, well, that's great. But like whoever stole it probably took the stuff and, I could forget about getting it back. All right. Long story short, 3 months ago, he gets an email from the lost and found of the train station. They have an official name. They say, we found your luggage. We're sending it to you. He gets the luggage, all his clothes and belongings are there. A few weeks ago, he gets another email. Now, this is 6 months later after his trip. And they say, "We found your computer case. We're sending it to you." He received it, and oh my God, the $5,000 was still in the side pocket. Now, my point of telling this story is he could have felt defeated, like he could have just given up and thrown his hands in the air and just said, "Oh, this is a horrible thing that happened to me, and I'm not going to get the stuff back, et cetera, et cetera." But even in that moment, he held on to hope and faith, and the people around him too declared it for him, and he ended up being triumphant. So my point is, even when things appear to be a defeat in your life, or that you're losing, or they just appear to look negative and not be going in your favor, keep the mentality of triumph. Know that you're a winner. Know that your stocks are up and they are high, 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 and you will see how things will, the negative view that you have is an illusion, and things are going to turn in your favor or work in your favor. Ella?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because I have to tell you, these type of things already happened about 3 or 4 times in my life as well. Probably not like luggage stuff, but sometimes waiting is the best action. Sometimes waiting is the best action. Bobby,
Oh, I just, I just don't want to promote any misinformation here. I don't live in Tennessee, and I probably never will.
Kentucky, sorry.
I live in Kentucky. It's funny. There's this little city, uh, Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee is the name of this. It's Bristol, and it's on the state line of Virginia and Tennessee. And Main Street runs right down the state line. It's painted down the middle of Main Street in Bristol. And my older brother was born across the street in Bristol, Tennessee, and I was born on this side in Bristol, Virginia. And I've always made a big deal out of that he was born in Tennessee and I'm not. And now I just live on the other side of the mountains in Kentucky, and so in Louisville. And so I wanted to clear that up. But Jimmy said something that reminded me of an old story. It was a man had heard about the wisest person in the world, and he wanted to go visit him. It was going to be a terrible journey and trek because this person was in a very isolated area in the Himalayas, and he said, "I'm going to go." And so he gets there and he wants an audience with the wisest person in the world. And one of the monks says, "You can only ask one question a day. You can only ask one question." And so he goes, "Oh, great, wonderful, wise one, to what do you attribute your great, powerful wisdom?" And the guy goes, "Good judgment." And it's like, okay. And he has to leave because he can only ask one question. He's going, "Good judgment. What in the world does that mean?" She said, "I'm going to come back tomorrow and ask another question." "Oh, great, wonderful, wise. To what do you attribute your good judgment?" And he goes, "Experience." And it's like, oh gosh, she's not much better off now. So he's got to go away for another day. So he comes back on the third day. "Oh, great, wonderful, wise one. To what do you attribute your experience?" And he says, "Bad judgment." So, and that's really true. It's how do we deal with our mistakes, and how do we deal with the things that go wrong, and how do we reframe things so that uh, we learn the lessons that we need to learn. We were It's how do you deal with failure, and your attitude about all of that stuff really has to do with the direction your energy goes, like Jimmy is talking about, because um, you can get into self-pity and slide down to lower vibration levels, and you just attract more of that yucky stuff in your life. Or you can say, no, wait, I really learned this, and I'm so much better because of that bad experience, and I've learned something really invaluable, and you can move on in a higher direction. And uh, Jimmy is exactly right, and we've talked about that several times on our shows. The quantum universe, and how all these parallel universes are right there, and how we move in them is all up to us, and what we want to believe about ourselves, and what we aspire to, and what we believe that we can really see happening. And it sounds so simple, but it's really not, because there's so much inertia and naysaying and all of these other things that we're immersed in, that you just have to turn off and then listen to your own internal compass and everything. And so I really like that idea about triumphs, because we all have experienced that, when we decided that no matter what else is said about my life, I am going to live a life that's true to myself. This is who I am.
Mm.
And you don't have to like it. You really don't. It doesn't matter to me, really, whether you like it or not. This is who I am. And I would love it if you love me, and we can all this stuff. But I will not give you the power to define who I am.
Mhm.
And oh gosh, what happened today? In the United Kingdom, the Supreme Court in the United Kingdom had a case from Scotland, and they decided that transgender women don't count as women. And that was the headline. I thought, oh my gosh, and there's all this catastrophic thinking that's going on in the community right now. And it's like, don't tell me what I count as. I am the one that determines what I count as. And so you don't want to count me that way. Well, I'm going to give you something to count. And it's like, I am not going to let that bring me down. I am not going to let ignorant people that are into colonizing and capitalism and all of this other stuff define who's who and what's what, and how you're going to, what rules of conformity that you have to abide by. And it's like, no, that's garbage straight from hell. I'm not playing that game. And
I
and
like
so
it.
yeah,
Yeah, Ella, we're
and
coming up on 35 minutes.
Correct. Yeah.
oh, thank you. And so I just, the bottom line is, today we are our own investment, and we're our own best investment, and we need to treat ourselves like uh, our value is going to increase every day, because we do the things that, with our relationships, that are lifting everybody higher. uh, we're kind, and we're loving, and we're inspiring people, we're encouraging people. And at least that's what I try to do every day. Um,
Yeah.
and it's like, just never could have imagined the richness of my life that I have now when I started out. And you're exactly right. When it comes to the investment in myself, it's really outstanding.
Yeah,
So I'll stop with that.
absolutely. Let's have our last round. Jimmy, go ahead.
Yeah, let me go first, Ella, because I got to go get my dog. All I want to say is, if you want to save humanity, vibrate higher. I love you all. I got to go get my dog.
Okay, bye, Jimmy. Raji?
Sure. So I would say, well, first of all, next year I have to go for my driver's license to renew. And from, what I hear in the state, trans people, what they're doing is, when you have to renew, they're going to put the M back, or the female. If you're a trans woman, they'll put the M back on your driver's license. And so I was thinking, I said, you know what? Even if they do that, that doesn't change the fact that I'm still not gonna be who I am. Like, fuck, excuse my language, F it. Whether it's an M or an F or an X or whatever, I'm still going to be me. So I'm going to close with this. I think it's a great, great saying. And it goes like this: a vision without action is a dream. Action without a vision is chaos. Ella?
Absolutely. Bobby, your last word for today.
Well, I was glad you mentioned Portugal earlier, Ella, because it's a reminder that all of us have lived through some bad times, and some of us have lived through some governments and cultures that were really testing everything about us, like in the way you described your early life in Portugal. But now it's such a glorious country, and I have two very dear friends um, who have a transgender son that decided they were going to give up their U.S. citizenship. Not give it up; they're going to have dual citizenship. But they moved everything the first week of January, and now they're in Portugal. And they send me all of these glorious reports and everything. And it's just a reminder that within your lifetime, you can remember the worst of times, and now you can see the best of times. And how does that happen? And it happens because of the spirit of the people, the indomitable spirit of the people. And that's what we all possess. It's like we can do better and we will do better. And watch me, I'm going to show you how much better we can do. And so just keep
Absolutely.
watching. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, yeah. Yeah, things change and you just have to go, but believe in yourself and
mhm,
wait for the right time because sometimes there are some challenges which go a little bit longer.
yeah.
Anyway, with these words, I would like to tell everybody bye,
Mhm.
everybody. Thank you for watching us. We'll come next week again. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Love
Namaste.
you.